Hello, welcome back to the Police Report, the channel we share everything about crime stories and forensic science cases. Recently, because of the tension between the US and China and COVID-19 spreading severely in the US, Asian Americans have become a target of racist attack. A Filipino American man slashed in the face while riding NYC subway. A Korean-owned store attack in uptown Charlotte Transit Center. A 17-year-old Asian woman fight back after being attacked in San Francisco. We can easily hear the news about racist crime against Asian. It triggered many different kinds of protests against Asian hate in America. Asians always give people the impression that they are meek and mild. They are always being the victim of racist bully or attacks. But is that really true? Today we are going to talk about a famous historical event, the rooftop Korean, which happened in the LA riot in 1992. I will try to make another video to talk about the LA riots in the future. But now, let's focus on how strong and united Asian people can be in this time. Before starting the video, please don't forget to give a like and subscribe to our channel. LA is home to over 300,000 Koreans, making it one of the biggest centers for the Korean diaspora. Many arrived during the 1970s and 1980s, when South Korea was extremely different from what it is today. Because of lack of work opportunities and the limited money, many Koreans purchased shops in predominantly black areas, usually from white owners living. It was also cheaper to open a shop and start a business in these areas. In April 1992, when 4 police officers were accused of beating Wadley King, they were found not guilty as a result. LA and the west of the USA saw some of the worst riots in its history. It was here that the Roof Koreans or Rooftop Koreans were born. During the LA riot, arson, murder, and looting were rampant all over Los Angeles. Koreatown was one of the targets of being attacked. In the Korean community, ethnic tensions had already started to brew over. Many Koreans had been killed during robberies at convenience stores. And as the LA riots started to become worse, the Koreans knew they had to do something. At the start of the riot, the LAPD offered next to no help to the Korean business owners, and actually took a step back from everything as things went from bad to worse. And as the situation intensified, it would be almost a week before the besieged business owners would see any form of law enforcement. So they set about defending themselves. Thus, the Roof Koreans were born. One of the most iconic examples of the Roof Korean was at the California market in the LA Koreatown. The owner fortified his store and with 20 well-armed employees all wearing Korean headbands. This image would become one of the most iconic of the Roof Koreans, as well as the fact that riots being not so black and white. Korean radio stations in LA began to put out a call for volunteers to come and help Korean business owners. Koreatown became a control center suddenly. Koreans communicated to others by using walkie-talkie, broadcasting on a Korean radio station. South Korea's law required all able-bodied men between the ages of 18 to 28 to enroll in compulsory military service. That can explain why most of Korean they know using the weapon and the firefighting techniques. They used shotgun, AK-47, and even submachine gun. It's well enough to fight with those rioters. They also knew guarding on the rooftop to take an advantage of being at a high place, so that they could shoot the targets easily. The riots finally came to an end when the US government sent in the military, as well as the National Guard. By this time, 2,300 Korean stores had been looted or burnt down. which accounted for almost half of the total damage to stores. The Korean population suffered much more than anyone else. Yet, although people had died and so much damage had been caused, the Wolf Koreans proved how a close-knit Korean community could defend themselves. 44 rioters were killed by Koreans. They built up the image of strong Asians for the Asian community.